Now welcome to another Let's Talk Some Ahsoka, where this time it is the final episode, The Jedi, The Witch, and the Warlord. And we will once again be discussing some of the comments left on my review over on the other channel. And today, Naboo is a tad bit under the weather, or actually a lot under the weather, so if her voice sounds a little off, it is because she is rather sick.
Yay.
But she's here anyway, because she's a trooper. And so we'll begin with your ever so brief review of this episode, which may be even briefer than usual.
My first thoughts at the end of the episode, I thought, I kind of liked that. But then I sat and thought about it more and went, wait a second, I liked the ending. I don't know how much I liked all of the stuff in between. They didn't show us the conversation between Sabine and Ezra about what had happened. I feel like we were just missing a lot of pieces. They got Morgan all cool and souped up and then just like, oh, and she's dead now. I thought she was pretty cool. I loved their duel. I thought that might have been one of the best fights in the series. Maybe not as good as Anakin and hers, but I was really sad about her lightsaber getting cut off. But at least they still have their ship, so Hu Yang can help her build a new one.
Yeah. All right, so let's now move on to some comments. As usual, we will start with the top-rated one, but something different this week is I will read the comments for Naboo. And we start with I'm Better Than You, who said, is Thrawn the biggest con man in the galaxy? He managed to get a really high position in the Empire solely through spinning his defeats into victories.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah, he didn't really get a win as much as he kind of defaulted into victory, I feel here. Which is very unfortunate because I think we all wanted to see him kind of be up against the wall, make some clever maneuvers, get the win, get back home, and we're all like, wow, how did he pull that off?
And even seemed to con the Great Mothers, because they didn't seem very happy with his decision to leave Morgan behind.
They didn't seem happy about either the fortress getting destroyed, too.
No, they weren't happy about that as well.
Yeah, they seem kind of like, what is he doing exactly here? He's destroying our fortress. He's leaving Morgan behind. We just promoted her. We had this cool ceremony.
Yeah, how much of their power did they have to use to do that? And then they're like, yeah, we'll leave her behind.
With our powers combined, we will form...
Shadow Morgan.
Shadow Talzin Morgan. Remember, she got the sword, too.
She got the sword, but that doesn't make you a Talzin.
We don't know that it doesn't make... We don't know what a Talzin is anymore. I think Talzin might be a title. I don't know. We don't have any kind of explanation. Would have been cool if at some point, like, Morgan had mentioned what the process of Great Motherhood is. I know that sounds like just exposition out of the blue, but there's ways you could work it in, considering her character really didn't do a whole lot anyway. But anyway, yeah, it does seem like Thrawn is able to spin his defeats into victories, or what sound like victories, because you don't actually understand what I'm doing, because nobody could.
I mean, he did technically win, I guess.
He did win. It just felt sloppy. It didn't feel like he actually earned it as much as it was like, okay, I just got to kind of outrace them at this point. We have time on our side.
That was the strategy, right?
Kind of, but it was kind of a lame strategy to showcase how intelligent your villain is. He needed to be up against the wall. It needed to be somehow the odds were not in his favor.
And then pull his win.
Yeah, that's more impressive than like, okay, I have a slight advantage and I'm going to manage to barely win. It just feels like if anybody had been put into Thrawn's position, they would have made like kind of the same moves. All right, let's just kind of get the stuff on the ship and get out of here, right? We'll throw some stuff at Ahsoka, maybe to slow him down, cross our fingers, and hopefully we make it. And that's exactly what happened. But anyway, let's now move on to this comment from Elk, who said, the absolute ridiculousness of the fact that Thrawn wasn't able to take out Ezra for nearly 10 years is just beyond me. What is this? What did that 10 years look like? Did he try to stop him?
I don't know. The whole thing was just really weird that he just ignored Ezra for 10 years, just monitored his rough location.
I mean, I guess that kind of goes along with the strategy of, like, don't poke the beehive and kind of hope we can just work around them. But it's not a brilliant strategy. I think that's the problem. It's like we all expected him to have to do something really, really brilliant where we were all like, wow, how did he even come up with that other than the plot allowed him to do it? Mm-hmm. And instead it was just like, yeah, I'm just going to try to outrace him. Okay, it worked. But is that, like, brilliant? I mean, to a degree, I guess you could argue since it works. I just want to know what those 10 years looked like for both of them.
Tales of the Jedi, an Ezra story.
Yeah, it'd be fine. Something. I think Timothy Zahn needs to tackle this and just rework it and imply that Thrawn had, like, a concussion during this escape time and...
Maybe lack of oxygen from traveling hyperspace.
Yeah, that's right. Low oxygen world. He's got to go back to Dathomir, where it's a very high oxygen environment. And he'll great. Take a dip in the back to Boba Fett's got some space.
He'll be fine.
Moving on, we have this comment from who said, Sabine, I allowed one of the most dangerous people in our galaxy to return so I could see you again. more than likely starting another civil war in the process. Are you mad? Ezra, LOL, nah, you're good, fam. Things happen.
That probably is what happened.
It seems to be. He didn't seem to have any residual anger towards her in the one scene
No.
at the beginning there.
I'm really mad we didn't get that conversation.
It's cheap. It's
Very
very
cheap.
cheap. Because you had obviously set up the fact that Sabine was nervous to tell him because she's constantly saying it's complicated. Can we just enjoy the moment? And Ezra's like, yeah, I guess. Is that complicated too? Yeah, that's complicated too. So you just kind of took the easy road. And like, either it didn't happen, or Ahsoka came in and was like, this is what happened. And Ezra's like, all right, well, I guess now we have to stop Thrawn.
Yay.
Yeah. We didn't even see that. It was just like decided upon, like, that's what they're going to do. We're going to stop Thrawn. Was there a discussion about maybe, do we sneak on the ship and go home? I know Ezra can pull that off pretty nicely, can he? I don't know. Cheap.
Very cheap.
We then have this comment from Gray Fox, who said, to best summarize the Ahsoka series is a quote from Balin. I miss the idea of it, but not the truth, the weakness. I think that sums it up pretty well. I think there were some really good ideas here. I think there was a lot I like about it, but the reality ended up being something different in the end.
Why did the end have to give us a bunch of really good ideas?
Yeah, it was like I watched the first 2/3 of it and I'm like, wow, like this is just kind of very contrived and very, if I were just trying to finish this the best possible, or the quickest, easiest way, I should say, not the best, the quickest, easiest way I could, this is what I would do. And then there's like this last 10 minutes and you're like, well, that's interesting. Why didn't the show focus more on that?
Look, we're going to Dathomir. Look, Shin's gonna lead the band of bandits.
That one was a little strange, yeah. And then Balin's like, I'm gonna Lord of the Rings this ending and find some cool statues that are the Mortis gods pointing at Abeloth or something out there.
Ahsoka saw Morai, and we got to... Sabine kind of felt him, too.
She felt
Anakin,
yeah.
the Force Ghost, yeah.
And then we see him, and it's like, oh, that's a good ending, but why couldn't you have done something better before that to get us here? To really make that impactful, really hammer that thing home. Instead, it's like, yeah, we're just going to storm the castle and not quite win.
I was really hoping Sabine would go home, too, and Ahsoka would stay by herself.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sabine kind of went back to save Ahsoka, so if she had left, it's presumed Ahsoka doesn't beat Morgan. I don't know, I think she still gets the win, but it's implied that Sabine's going back is what saved her master. She again makes the decision with her heart instead of her head. All right, then we have this comment from Emporage, who said, giving Sabine the Force was dumb, in my opinion. I thought the message was, you don't need the Force to be everything the Jedi represents, but no, they just gave her the Force because why not?
Because why not? Everyone should have the Force, especially if you've got a master who will awaken it for you.
It's just, it kind of, well, they tried to make it not diminish any of her previous accomplishments because she had never really tapped into it before, so it's implied like everything she had done originally way back in the day, that was just like raw, pure Sabine, but now she's tapped into another level. She unlocked a new skill tree.
I didn't from the beginning want her to be a Jedi, and I still don't.
No, I don't, because I think she's a better character just as Sabine the Mandalorian, who is an artist and all these other things, and a bit hot-headed, and, you know, kind of wears her emotions on the sleeve sometimes when she...
And not everyone needs to be a Jedi in order to have an impact.
Exactly. I think that's why they've kind of made it seem like there was this distinct moment where she taps into the Force and couldn't before, to say, see, she was doing cool stuff without the Force, but now she's going to have the Force and can do even more cool stuff. I don't think I agree with that or like it, but that is what they were trying to imply. I think it would have been amazing had she tried to pull that lightsaber, and as soon as she got herself kind of pinned by the Death Trooper and she's reaching for it, we're like, yep, here it is. Here's the moment we knew was coming after 8 episodes. If she still failed, and it had to be Ezra who bails her out. Like, I guess I'm never going to unlock this. That would have been such a better, I think, story for her, actually. To kind of come to this realization that, no, I'm never going to be a Jedi like Ezra. That's just not how it's going to work for me.
No, that she has to work on developing her own way.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's clearly not what Dave and company wanted.
No, because when everyone has powers, nobody's special.
All right, then we move on to this comment from Sup Devon, who said, I think the writers and Dave are so laser focused on getting all the pieces in place that they aren't stopping to realize how contrived the whole story is becoming. They have their sights set on the end product, so much so that they are too blind to see the lack of motive in character decision making. Things feel like they are happening because the story needs them to happen.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it
the
feels...
The Purgles showed up here because Ahsoka needs a ride.
Yes.
The mines are there because we can't have the Purgles still there.
It's working backwards. It's like... Yeah. If Dave sat down and he had this image of how the story was going to end, how the series was going to end. He saw Balin doing his thing. He saw that moment where Ezra looks back at his friends who he has to leave behind as he goes home this time. He had all these images in his head, which are good images. Like, I think the ending, out of context, if you told me that's how it ended, like Ezra goes home and he watches his friends have to stay behind and fight, I think that's brilliant. But he did everything he could. He just railroaded the story to the point where a character making like decisions rationally or having conversations about things like, why did you even come here in the first place? I risked my life for this. That all gets ignored for that ending, which then makes the ending feel lesser.
Oh, I agree 100%. I'm still very upset with the Ezra ending. I can't imagine that Thrawn was just like, yeah, I guess one of our shuttles is leaving. Don't shoot at it or anything. Did Ezra even wait to see where they were going? Like, did they come out of hyperspace at Dathomir? Can he go back and be like, hey, New Republic, they're at Dathomir?
They're at Dathomir, yeah. Did he do any, like, investigation work to, like, figure out what was going on in those caskets? Or...
Just like Ezra had to have that unveil moment. He didn't get off of the shuttle
oh my God, yeah.
without his helmet on.
I would have loved it if they just, like, shot him and killed him when he got off the ship. Oh, it's a stormtrooper. Shoot him. Like, why are you wearing the armor? No, we have to have
this unveil moment, which who is it supposed to surprise? The audience. We already know Ezra put it on.
Yeah. Like, yeah, for the 10 people that didn't figure out that was going to be Ezra, like, okay, that's a surprise for you. For in-story for Hera... Sure, I guess, but even she would be like, why didn't you take the armor off, dude? We almost shot you. Mm-hmm. Like, that was dumb. You're Ezra. You have, you're a little cocky and hot-headed, not the smartest dude in the world, but you should have known to take the armor off. Like, that's the first thing you do when you get on the ship, right?
I'm surprised he didn't go straight to Lothal. I mean, how does he know what the New Republic fleet is?
Well, of all the questions, that's the one that bugs me the least, how he found the fleet. I would think, I don't know. You would think the fleet wouldn't exactly advertise their location either. I don't know.
Ezra found no problem.
Maybe he had a contact on Lothal. Maybe he went back there and they're like, oh, yeah, why don't you go surprise Hera? The fleet's here.
Yeah, go wear
just leave your armor on. It'll be hilarious because you wear stormtrooper helmets and stuff. That's been your thing since the first episode of Rebels. Yeah, I don't know. Well, so many questions about that one. All right, let's move on to this one from Juan the Hylian, who said, my biggest gripe is how non-lethal lightsabers still are. Like, there's no way it didn't occur to anyone to not start slicing stormtroopers after death. Second is the entire Ezra escape being off-screen, and he just took a ship without Thrawn noticing.
Juan knows what's up.
He does.
That's the exact thing I was thinking.
Yeah, we just covered that one, so we'll go back to the first part of the comment here. Non-lethal lightsabers. Like,
hey, they had non-lethal lightsabers in Kenobi. I mean, his lightsaber bounced off of stormtrooper armor.
They've upgraded stormtrooper armor, apparently.
Go for the joints.
I was kidding. First of all, it probably should have just melted. It's basically plastic, right? Should basically melt like right through it. And when the dead start getting up and you're like, okay, so they're dead. I don't really have to worry about like being cruel and like cutting off their head or their legs or whatever.
Then that's what you do?
That's what you do. How has that not occurred to them?
Sabine's lightsaber had no problem going through that Death Trooper.
No, it didn't have any problem there. Like, just cut off the head and see what happens. Like, does the body keep coming? And if so, like, I mean, it's magic, right? So maybe the body just start hacking them up. Your lightsaber doesn't run out of energy. You just keep hacking and doing whatever you got to do to stop them. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, goodness.
I'm thinking about the Black Knight from Monty Python.
It's but a flesh wound.
It's but a flesh wound.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That was another one that was just... The whole series is kind of downplayed lightsabers, I feel. It used to be the cool thing in Star Wars that just did it all, and now it's like, yeah, they work sometimes a little bit.
Oh, you need a magic weapon that can take care of lightsabers? Here you go. I'll give you a Beskar spear. Oh, that didn't work out for you? Here, Sword of Talzin.
Sword of Talzin. It's made of Beskar too, or something.
Sure.
Or metal that blocks lightsabers.
Reinforced with magic.
Yeah, it's just magic. Magic blocks lightsabers. All right, let's move on. We have this one from The Savage, who said, I love how the entire series is about finding Ezra, only to basically swap places with him. How is that even remotely an interesting setup for the movie? Now Ezra has to find them. Yeah, I don't mind this one, actually. I said before I thought that was a pretty poetic, kind of rhymey
It was ending. Important to get Ezra home.
I think Sabine wanted him to go home and was willing to do whatever it took to get him there. Though at the same time, I do understand how it kind of feels strange. That it's like, well, can't Ezra just get a Purrgil to go back there? Can't the New Republic or somebody now make a ship to go to the other galaxy to bring them home? I mean, do you do that though? That's a lot of money that you have to spend to rescue. But it's a Jedi, and it's a Mandalorian who's helped you in the Civil War before.
You mean two Jedi?
It's a Mandalorian who helped you in this war. No, it's basically two Jedi, like both of which were key assets again in the war. So do you go and build a new ship to bring him home?
I think Senator Ziono will have words about that.
Yeah, he's probably going to be against it.
Not to mention, he'd have to have the coordinates to get back there.
Well,
the map was destroyed.
Just follow the Purrgil.
Whoa.
He can talk to Purrgil as far as we know. He's like the Purrgil whisperer. He can get back there.
You could just get a little ship and have the Purrgil grab it and take it with.
Yeah, he does it. That's pretty good too. Saves you fuel for half the trip.
Take the Ghost.
Yeah, well, you got to get home. So you take a small ship. It doesn't seem like it takes more than a couple days, maybe. We have no reference on time on how long it takes for those ships to go back and forth between galaxies. So I don't know. You strap a ship to a Purrgil. Seems like they're cool with that kind of thing. And you save half your fuel. And then you use super hyperdrives to get back, right?
Well, you tell the Purrgil to wait because you're Ezra and you could probably do that.
Yeah, can we do a two-way trip?
Then you get there and they have a ship too, so you're just like, hey Purrgil, wait for a sec, let me radio down there. All right, come on, get in his mouth, let's go.
Let's go. You're home in a week. Mm-hmm. You got it. Yeah, it seems like one of those issues that when you really stop and think about it, maybe isn't an issue, but will be because some reason the Purrgil won't be going there anymore. Like they go in waves, and it's going to be another 10 generation before the Purrgil head to the other galaxy.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either, but that's what you can use. Okay, and moving on now, we have this comment from AH19286, who said, "Wish there had been more of Baylan and Shin in this episode."
Scratch that in this whole series.
I want season 2 of Ahsoka to be Baylan and Shin.
I want to know, more of what was going on. I need more conversation and backstory between Baylan and Shin. How did they come together in the first place?
You don't get anything like that. It's all just... Dave takes after George, where you go right in the middle of the action, you go right in the middle of the story, and the details aren't relevant. It's all about the story now.
Well, and what's Shin's motivation that she stayed on the planet?
I don't know. She wanted power, so she's going to rule this nomadic tribe.
She could have made it back to Thrawn's ship. If Ezra and them made it back riding Howlers, she could have made it back before them.
Yes.
Got on the ship.
Yeah.
She could have been the sacrificial lamb Thrawn left behind.
She could have been, which is the problem, right? Because we don't want to sacrifice Shin. We want her to do other things. So Shin being there means Shin has to fight Ahsoka and lose because she has no chance against Ahsoka, as we've seen. So you can't have Shin there.
No, but it could have been cool because Ahsoka and Ezra could have made it up on the ship, and then Sabine's down there fighting Shin with all she's got because Shin showed up the last second, so she couldn't make her jump. And then Ahsoka jumps back.
It's no, Ezra, you go home. We came here for you.
She pushes Ezra back, and he's no.
In the Twilight of the Apprentice episode.
Yeah, and then she jumps across and saves Sabine.
Ezra's not again, no. How dare you? Yeah, that could have worked.
Could have been good.
And then you have Shin, killed?
Either killed or she runs away again.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do too often with your villains, even though we understand, again,
instead,
Ahsoka is...
for no reason at all, she decided, I'm going to go and be the boss of these bad guys.
Yeah, that's, lowering your ambition, right? I'm going to be,
What, you're going to hunt crab people for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's strange that she kind of just settled for that when she could have just gone home and done something more. Or maybe she figures...
no idea what she's up to.
No, that one was kind of weird, I thought. But the Baylan was good. Mm-hmm. Baylan was really good. It has me curious. But who knows when and how they resolve that, considering, of course, we have no Ray Stevenson to carry that on, which is just such a tragedy.
Not to mention the story arc that looks like it was teased. You had the father, son, and daughter, though her statue was broken.
Yeah.
Looking off of the temple looked almost like the Mortis temple.
Yeah, with a light coming out of it. And yeah, it's so... Like I said, it's such a tragedy.
That is a lot to explain. That whole Mortis arc would be a lot to explain.
That's why you'd actually need a good writing team to kind of dive into all that in a second season or somewhere. Maybe this all gets moved to a book now. We don't know.
Dave and books.
Yeah, I know. He would retcon it before it even gets launched. But no, like I said, the whole Ray Stevenson thing is such a tragedy. We lost a great guy from everything I've ever heard about him. He's, a great actor, a phenomenal person. He has this amazing role that everybody in the fandom is talking about, and he will, he never gets to see it. It's just such a shame. All right, let's move on. Let's get one more here. We've been going for a while, and I know you're ready to lay back down.
Yeah, I'm not feeling so swell.
All right, we'll finish it off with this comment from Maluka Johnson, who said, "I really enjoyed the entire series to various degrees until the final episode, and it really let me down. The ship going at the pace of the crab people was mind-boggling and immersion-breaking. More than that, I just feel like it was all so by the numbers. In the Book of Boba Fett, people were expecting something larger or unexpected, such as Crimson Dawn. In Mando Season 3 finale, lots of people were wondering about the allegiance of the armorer, but once again, everything was exactly as it appeared at face value. And now with Ahsoka, with the exception of the Mortis statues, we once again have a by-the-numbers finale. Am I just expecting too much? I don't think so.
Maybe this is where Dave team fails. They're giving you exactly what you expect because they don't have faith the audience can follow. Whereas the Andor team challenged you.
I don't think he doesn't have faith that the audience can follow. I just, I wonder how much the whole Rian Johnson thing impacts everything they do, where they're so afraid to, just kind of pull the rug out from under you at the last second that they think fans are just going to automatically have a negative reaction. Not understanding it was just who and how exactly they did the subversion, not necessarily that they did it. But I don't know, maybe it's Dave thinking that fans are going to love this and I'm just going to give it to them and that's it. Maybe he's too much in the other camp in a way. I don't know. I really thought we needed something to go. And mind you, the whole Mortis thing was a wow moment, right? Everybody was like, that's interesting at the very least. Even if you think it was cheesy or shouldn't be done, you're still like, that's something, right? They gave you something. Maybe could have done it better or earlier. But I still feel like the story itself with our main heroes, like something more than just some of them got left behind. And as we discussed before, it shouldn't be that hard to get them home. Like, we got the Purrgil, you got Ezra back there. He can just hop a Purrgil, we can get him back. It's not that complicated, I don't think. So nothing happened that was really in the story with our main characters that left me like, yep, didn't see that coming.
Does Huyang just have piles of kyber crystals?
Yeah, I mean, he's been to Ilum a lot. Maybe he just picks them up from time to time while he's there, or was there.
Ezra built a new one, and where did he get his crystal?
Yeah, a lot of people were wondering.
We're supposed to assume that it was Kanan somehow? Because I don't know if that works.
No, that doesn't work. What did happen to Kanan's lightsaber?
Did he die with it?
I mean, I don't think they recovered it. I think he had it when he got blown up. That's an interesting question. I didn't really think about that till right now. But I don't think that was Kanan's. I mean, it could theoretically be. Could have been that they found the saber afterwards or somebody did and they took the guy. I don't think that is, but yeah, I guess Huyang just has crystals laying around.
I guess.
All right, well, either way, that's going to be all we got for you this time. Now it's your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you thought of this season finale. Were you excited by it? Did you like it? Did you maybe just like the ending and thought some other parts not so good? Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.